Hey everybody, Jamie Stokes from Real Page. Today's video I'm going to do on referrals, but I'm going to talk about, actually I'll touch base on a few different types of referrals here. What it inspired me to do this video today was I saw an article today where somebody published talking about how realtors can get and often do get referrals for referring out other services such as home inspectors, things like this, mortgage brokers. And I want to make this story clear here. I know an awful lot of realtors. Realtors across Canada, Ontario, in the US, mostly North American realtors. But out of all of the realtors that I know, I don't know of any that take referral fees for referring out any business. I'll be honest with you. I have never in my entire real estate career, I've been at real estate for about 8 years now, and I've never taken a referral fee for a mortgage broker, a home inspector, anything like this. The reason that I don't is because I feel it's more important for us to be able to recommend a service that suits our clients. And I'm not the only one with this mentality. I know most realtors think this way. If we can refer somebody out that's best for our clients, it works out for everybody. It looks good on us. It's something that we want is reciprocal service. So reciprocal service, I don't mean we get kickbacks for it. We don't even get most of the time because business is different. A mortgage broker, for example, might do more deals in a year by 5 times as many as a realtor might do. So you can't expect, and they're probably working with multiple realtors. So you can't expect a referral per referral on that sort of basis. But there's a lot of articles in the media that can consistently come out bashing realtors for all the evil things that are going on in the real estate industry. And I want to make it clear that these articles, I don't understand the basis behind them. I've touched base on things that the general public has said, online discussions I've been involved in with the general public and things like this. And there's so many misconceptions out there. I don't know of a single realtor. And like I said, I know many, and I don't know any that will actually take a kickback or a referral for referring out a service. We might have people that we trust and we know them because we've done many deals with them or recommended them many times. And it's best for our clients to use a trusted home inspector or mortgage broker, one that's good at what they do, that we really trust. I mean, it comes back to us. Of course, the realtor gets blamed for anything that goes wrong. So we're not going to recommend a service that we don't trust. So there's no kickbacks involved when we recommend home inspectors or mortgage brokers or anything like this. There's the benefit in it for us is that our clients have a good experience, which is paramount for us in this business. If our clients don't have a good experience, we're not going to retain them as clients. They're going to go somewhere else. And they can leave negative reviews online. There's all kinds of negative consequences if we don't have proper service people or recommendations for our clients to make transactions go smoothly. Also, I want to point out, we can work for weeks, months, or even years trying to set up a client to buy a property, give them some advice on how to get their affairs in order, or even recommend them to a financial person that can help them get things in order for them to buy a home. So if we don't close on a deal, we don't get paid. We can work weeks, months, years even, and it's in our best interest, obviously, to help our clients out, make sure that our clients do have a good experience with us, and they trust the people that we recommend to them. I mean, we get blamed for everything. Go Google some stories about realtors on here, and you're going to see all kinds of bad things. And I can honestly say, with true sincerity, that the realtors that I know, they don't have any scams going on. They don't get kickbacks. They don't get referrals. It's a value-based service, and it kind of works both ways. Like the amount of referrals that I've given out, I haven't gotten nearly a fraction of that back. I can say most times when I recommend, a mortgage broker or a home inspector, there's absolutely no financial gain in it for me whatsoever, and I mean none. I get nothing out of it, but it's good for me and good for my clients in the sense that the transaction actually goes through, which is the ultimate goal here, right? The clients need to get a place or they need to sell their place, and it's my job to help them make that happen. So these stories that are online right now about realtors getting kickbacks for these sort of things, like, yeah, there may be a way for that to happen, but it doesn't happen. Everybody in the business, I mean, you definitely don't want to create an expectation of I gave you something, so you need to give me something back, because that is super negative. There's no positivity on that, and you don't want a relationship with somebody that you trust based on a you owe me kind of mentality. So we don't work that way, and it's not something that happens in the real estate industry. Another thing I want to point out is something called bird dog fees. So I know a lot of new realtors, they've been told this, but they might not understand the severity of it. We're not, as realtors, we're not allowed to take financial compensation or give financial compensation to anybody who gives us referrals. It's illegal. We're not allowed to do it. It's against our Real Estate and Business Broker Act, our code of ethics, all these things. So the kickbacks involved, there's definitely not. And I also want to point out two other things. One, the first thing is that if we're working with clients for weeks or months or even years, and we've put hundreds or thousands of hours into helping them, sending them properties, get them set up so that they're financially able to buy a property, and they can just go to another realtor and buy a property, or they get talked into buying a property at an open house through the listing agent or something like that. That's money that we lose out on. There's nothing really binding them other than mutual respect, which it happens an awful lot in this industry. And the longer you're in real estate, you understand kind of like signs to look out for, and things where things just aren't going to go through. They're going to end up using somebody else. It happens with rentals a lot. That's part of the reason why I don't really do rentals anymore, is because you have clients, you take on clients and you show them all these rental properties. They're very picky, which is fine. I don't treat rentals any different than I do home buying or selling. So there's not much money to be made when it comes to rentals. So that's the first reason why some realtors don't do them. And the second is, if you have a binding contract with somebody that they're going to use you to represent their interests when leasing a property, and they don't follow through on that, what are you really going to do? I mean, your commission, by the time you're done paying everything, you're only making a few $100 probably, and that's only if you show them maybe 10 properties or something like that, because your time is money and your gas is money and things like this. But you're not going to end up coming out ahead, and these people will often go and just look on Facebook Marketplace or Kijiji or something like this, or Realtor.ca, and they'll look for other properties by themselves at the same time that you're sending them properties from MLS, or showing them properties, and they'll just go and rent another place. And even though your services, that the tenants don't pay for your services, the landlord does typically. They'll go somewhere else, and they've just wasted probably a few weeks of your time showing properties, and now you're not getting paid for it, which I think is pretty disrespectful and terrible, to be quite honest with you. I don't expect anybody to come out and work for free, so I don't understand why a lot of people have this mentality of, maybe it's a misunderstanding, but I tell people, like, the only time that I get paid is if a transaction closes, so it's in my best interest to look after you and make sure that the transaction does close and the deal does go through, and I'm going to do what I can to make that happen. Everything that's ethical and legal and things like this. I have all 5-star reviews on every single one of my places where you can leave reviews for me. I've never had any issues with clients having issues with me. Never once, which is pretty rare actually. I'm a pretty easygoing person, so I don't expect a lot of problems. But there's no kickbacks for things. I want to set that straight. There's no kickbacks for anything. I've told you what the reasons are why I don't, and most realtors won't accept or pay kickbacks or anything like this. It's on the reciprocal basis. We hope that if we send referrals to somebody, that they'll maybe send some back in turn or recommend us. But it doesn't always work out that way. Like I said, sometimes mortgage brokers do more deals than a realtor will, or a realtor will do more deals than a mortgage broker will, or a home inspector. They're not in a position where they can recommend very many deals, probably because people often don't get their home inspected before they sell it or anything like this. So that's kind of how that works out. Yeah, so there's no kickbacks or anything like that. We're not allowed bird dog fees, which is paying for referrals to the general public. We can do referrals between realtors. So the way that works is referrals between realtors. If I have a friend or family member or a past client that moved out of area, and this has happened to me many times, they really trust me to represent their best interest. They've experienced working with me, and they enjoy me, and they trust me. So they want to move to an area that I'm not familiar with. So it's not in my client's best interest, and it's not in my best interest to help them buy a property in that area, because there's certain things that I might not know about the area. I mean, sure, I can Google things, but I'll give a quick example on this. There was an there was an area in London that was prone to flooding. A lot of the houses on the street had floods over the years, and you wouldn't know that unless you had maybe tore the walls out or did a pre-inspection on the house. But this one street in particular was very prone to floods, and a local realtor would probably know the flooding areas of that street in the neighborhood. But somebody who's from out of town wouldn't know that. So if you have a realtor from out of town that's representing your best interest, how are they going to do that when they don't know certain things about, where the shores are, and if they flood in the spring and flood out people's basements, because this was a problem in the area. So that's just a very small example. There's other things, of course, in regards to road maintenance, property taxes, all kinds of random things there, but you want a local realtor to represent your best interest. So referrals, in that sense, I will refer somebody. If I'm not super familiar with the area, I'm going to refer them out so that my clients have the best person to represent them for that area specifically. And I don't want to get into too much about why I should use out-of-town agents. I'll do another video on that at another point, but bird dog fees, paying fees to the general public for giving us leads. We're not allowed to do that. That's illegal. And another thing is referring to out-of-town agents. It's perfect. What I usually do for referrals for out-of-town agents is I will, if I have a listing that's out of town, and I've had many over the years with family and friends and past clients, as long as they're not too far out of town, because there are nightmares that happen. I had one client that was the tenant didn't want to move, so they kept taking down the real estate sign, and it was a bit over an hour drive each time. So I had to go out there a few times. My client didn't live in the house; he just had tenants there. So I went out a couple times and put the sign back up. But you want a local agent to represent you in the area where you want to buy or even sell. So what I do with agents is I'll send them people who are interested. It's easier for me and easier for them to have somebody local represent you in this situation. You will have clients that absolutely don't want to use anybody but you because they trust you so much. But I will work with a local agent because they know the area very well. I mean, typically I will too. I know where my friends and family live, so that's not an issue. But I will find a local agent that I'm friends with, and I will ask them to do showings for me, for example. I will send them all the showing requests to show the property. And, usually what I'll do with agents that I know very well is I'll just send them these showing requests. They'll book a showing through me, and they'll bring these people who want to view the property. They'll bring them through because they're in the area, and it saves me from having to drive out there. Not that I'm lazy, but I'll do that, because sometimes I'll get like 8 in a day or something like that, or 10 in a day, and I can't drive out there 10 times or sit there the entire day waiting for people to come through. So I'll use one of my local agent friends, and I'll send them all the showing requests, and they will, if they have somebody that actually wants to put in an offer on the property, they'll send me a referral fee, which is typically 25%, and I let them keep whatever. Whatever people had showing requests and they didn't have a realtor. I'll just say, in the future, maybe they'll return business, maybe not, but it works out for me that way. And there has to be something in it for them. You can't just ask somebody to work for free. I mean, I have to practice what I preach. So they'll end up getting, a lot of the time, they'll end up getting clients out of it or whatever. And that's just one way. I've done this before for agents. A friend that was new to the business years ago, I did this for him, and I believe he got a couple of clients out of it. Good for him. It works out for everybody this way. And I hate to say it, and in the real estate industry, we talk about this amongst each other. We're supposed to be representing our client's best interest. We have to do this in order for everything to work out, for our business to be successful and things like this. But you have some agents in certain areas that are very territorial, and they do not want out-of-town agents listing the properties. So they'll see an out-of-town agent listing properties there, and sometimes this is absolutely unethical. They can get into trouble for this, but they don't want this happening or becoming an issue, so they won't show that property just so it sits on the market for longer. But when you work with a local agent, I find that it helps. Maybe you just, if your clients will allow it, refer it out to an agent that you trust in the area, and you can avoid this problem. I've noticed it in the past, and it is something that does happen. It's very childish. It's very unprofessional. Everybody who is licensed in the GTA or licensed anywhere in Ontario is allowed to practice real estate anywhere in Ontario. So they can be, Northern Ontario. You can have Toronto agents listing places in, Northern Ontario if they want. They can list anywhere. Any agent from Ontario can list anywhere in Ontario. It's not wise. You need a local agent, period. There's no question about it. But if you have clients, and this does happen, if you have clients that aren't interested in having some random agent listing their place that they don't know or don't trust or something like this, or family, they want to be supportive and things like this, it doesn't always work out that way. So that's, I told you my solution for doing that. It works out for the local agents there. And agents need to kind of work together to close deals. That's just how it happens. The clients win out of that when agents cooperate with each other. We're not in a battle for business here. We have more agents in the GTA or in Ontario than we should. Hands down, we probably have per capita. We probably have more in the GTA than anywhere else in the world per capita. But it's not about stealing listings from each other or going behind each other's back or doing shady business, because people will remember these things. So you have to be professional at all times. I've seen some wars between people online in the real estate business, and it's not good for business. When you hold grudges with other agents, you can't represent your client's best interests. So avoid all of these things. But when it comes to kickbacks, back to the point of the video, when it comes to kickbacks, we don't get any kickbacks. We don't get referral fees for sending our clients to a mortgage broker or to a certain bank or using a specific home inspector or anything like that. It's all about looking after our client's best interest. And if we don't do this, we're only going to last a few years in the business. I've been in business for about 8 years now, so I understand how it works. I know exactly what happens if you don't, not that I've experienced it myself, but I've seen it happen to other agents. You do get called out on your stuff. And like I've said in past videos, the worst critics of realtors, like the public, seems to not like us very much for some reason. They think we're all overpaid, underworked, and we're all millionaires, even though I've said in past videos, like, your average realtor only sells 1 or 2 houses a year, maybe. A lot of them don't even sell any. So they've parked their licenses or whatever, but it's not something that happens in our business. We don't get kickbacks for everything, and we're not all millionaires. Yeah, some of us, it's like the 80-20 rule or whatever, or 90-10. The top 10% of agents do 90% of the business, and that's with a lot of businesses. They work this way. So I just wanted to touch base on, kickbacks and bird dog fees. We can't give referral fees to the general public or anything like this either. We're not allowed to. Even gifts. I mean, if it's your client's birthday or Christmas or something like this, maybe, but we can't go around throwing around hundreds or thousands of dollars to people for giving us referrals. And I do believe it happens in the business, but I can honestly say that the realtors that I deal with and the realtors that I know, they don't practice in any of this under the table kind of nonsense. Everybody that I know, I was actually quite surprised when I got into real estate, because I know the general public's perception. There's a few things that surprised me is, the general public's perception of people using social services and stuff like this, for example. The public seems to think that they're not contributing to society for some reason, if they're ill or whatever, but general public doesn't seem to like that very much. They feel like, they're out there working all day and night, and these people are just sitting at home on the couch, drinking and smoking and watching movies all day or something like that, when, that's more than likely not the case. But I was surprised in a realtor conversation. They said once, like, people on social services, I was amazed at how this conversation went, that there was empathy for people on social services. I mean, they're not banking, they're not making a lot of money. They're not even making enough to pay their rent and pay, bills and groceries. So the perception that the general public has, I don't feel is very positive. And the same with, I made a video about this before, about racial issues and things like this. There are racial issues that come up, as well as social issues that come up and things like this. And I'm surprised at how professional the realtors are when dealing with this. They're not judgmental whatsoever, for the most part, from what I see on online discussions. And I was quite blown away by this, because I know with the general public, they're not afraid to voice their opinions on things, but realtors will always stick up for their clients. I mean, A, money's money. It doesn't really matter. B, people are people. We're all not much different. As I've said in past videos, my dad says that, everybody wants the same thing in life. They want to live peacefully, happy, have a family or not, and just enjoy life. That's it. It doesn't matter where you're from, what color your skin is, what your sexual orientation is, or anything like this. Everybody just wants the same thing in life. So realtors are actually, they're very decent. I don't see. You can watch my video on race issues, and there are some, yes, but realtors are actually pretty good to each other and their clients, regardless of things. So that's it on bird dog fees and getting kickbacks and referrals and paying referrals and receiving referrals. It's not something that happens, and I don't understand why the media constantly attacks realtors on different subjects, because the stuff that they talk about, like, they're not realtors. They don't have access to the private groups that we have, and they really don't know. Like, you might have a one-off story, but you can't paint everybody with the same brush. And being in the industry, I can tell you that this is not the case. People are not like that. Your average realtor is, I'm going to use myself, for example. I don't make a fortune doing real estate. I'm a single dad with 2 kids. I'm just trying to support them and raise them and teach them right, just like everybody else out there who's got kids. So I'm just trying to survive here like everybody else. And that's about it. There's nothing special to it, but realtors don't make as much as everybody thinks. There's not money going around like everybody thinks. And I've told you about, the 80-20 or 90-10 rule. So that's it for referrals. I would really appreciate it if you liked my videos, if you shared them, or subscribe to my channel. If you have anything that you would like me to discuss that's in regards to real estate. I won't touch on mortgages too much, but real estate in general, if you have anything that you want to know, please feel free to drop a comment and ask me about it, and I can do a video on that. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching my video.